Crime is defined as an act committed in violation of a law, and for which punishment is imposed upon conviction. But what motivates people to commit crimes is what many theorists have pondered over. One theorist, Robert Merton, believed that the social structures within society may pressure citizens into committing crimes. He called this strain theory. He believed that strain is caused by the discrepancy between culturally defined goals and the institutionalized means available to achieve these goals. To further investigate Merton's theory, we go to Ireland, where we will apply and test this theory on a cross-section of Irish society. We begin our journey in South County Dublin.
So, tell me a little bit about yourself, young man.
Hi, I'm Fikra, and I'm 28 years old, and I work as a financial banker. I suppose I had quite a privileged upbringing. I grew up in a fairly affluent area in South Dublin. My mother was a psychologist, and my dad was a judge. So that just meant that I was brought up in a very nurturing, safe, and supportive environment.
So, as you grew older, would you have found that wealth and status would have been your priorities in life?
Yeah, I would say that. Certainly when I look around at my peers, my relatives, and my neighbours, there's quite a high level of competition. Everybody wants to have the biggest house, the biggest car. When I was 15, I set myself a goal of being a millionaire by the time I was 30. Luckily for me, I reached that goal when I was 28, which was very happy for me, a very happy moment in my life. So I would say yes, that is a major goal.
Fiacre is what Merton would describe as a conformist. Conformity occurs when an individual accepts culturally defined goals, such as status and wealth, and when they also possess the socially legitimate means of achieving said goals. Our next stop on our tour around Ireland takes us to South Hill, which lies on the outskirts of Limerick City.
Hello there. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
How's it going? My name is Dwayne. I'm 22 years old, and I work in Limerick's drug trade.
What are you making the film for, lads?
Off, you vagabond!
I don't know.
So, would you see wealth and status as a particular goal in your life, young chap?
Absolutely, and it was from a very young age. I mean, I think my life is quite similar to 50 Cent's at the moment. I mean, big car, big house, big wife, you know. I'm actually so wealthy at the moment. I mean, I have to visit a chiropractor 3 times a week because I've so much money stuffed in my mattress. Do you know what I mean?
So what do you say to those people that say that you are breaking the law and damaging society?
Here, man, have you got a light there, have you? Here's kid. Thanks, man. What would I say to those people? I say you having an absolute laugh. I mean, I'm supposed to abide by society's rules all of a sudden, am I? Where was society when I was 12 years old looking after my siblings and no one looking after me? Would you go away with you? You go.
Merton would call Dwayne an innovator, because although he accepts the culturally defined goals of society, he rejects or lacks the socially legitimate means of achieving them. Our last stop on this journey takes us to Dublin, where we will meet a man named Francis. Francis is what Merton would call a retreatist. A retreatist is someone who Merton believes rejects the culturally defined goals of wealth and status and the socially legitimate means of achieving it. Merton stated that the retreatist withdraws from society and may become an alcoholic or drug addict as a form of coping mechanism.
Hello. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself, young man?
How's it going, man? My name is Francis. I'm 20 years old, and I grew up in County Dublin. I suppose I was in a car a lot as a young lad, you know. I kind of got mixed in with the wrong crowd, and I suppose at the moment I have a fairly severe drug problem, you know.
So as a young man, did you believe that your family had the means for you to achieve wealth?
Well, I don't really think so, no. Like, I came from a fairly poor background. Like, I didn't really have the money to go to fancy schools or go to college, you know. I didn't really have the means to get an education, you know what I mean?
Would you see wealth and status as a particular goal in your life?
I wouldn't really buy into that, you know, trying to achieve, you know, financial status and all that. I'm all about the crack, right? And I kind of live my life on a day-to-day basis, right? I'm with the boys. I get me drugs for the day,
have the crack, and that's what it's all about, really. I don't have any long-term goals, really, you know. My main goal is have fun in life, you know. I think I might have a little bag of coke, if I don't mind myself. Woo! In hell, there is some banging with that cocaine, man. Jesus Christ. Yeah, man. Do you mind me asking me, answering me a question? Why you asking all these questions to me? Like, what's it got to do with anything?
We're investigating Robert Merton's strain theory.
Robert Merton's strain theory? I'll go away with that. Should his theory fail to explain crimes of passion and violence, like my friend Damo punching a man in the face because he insulted his haircut? I'd like to see Robert Merton explain that.
Our participant is correct in his argument that Merton's strain theory fails to explain why people commit crimes of violence and vandalism. Other criticisms include the lack of explanation strain theory offers to crimes like fraud, corruption, and embezzlement, which are committed by the already wealthy members of society, such as bankers and politicians. Despite its criticisms, Merton's strain theory offers insight into why some economically disadvantaged members of society participate in criminal activity. Tune in next week when we examine the link between obesity and automobile accidents. Cheerio, chappies!